All right, welcome back to the Surly Talk Sports Podcast preview pod. A couple days late. Review pod. Jeez, I'm all at sea here. It's been a big weekend. Of course, shot down to Wellington on Saturday for the Wars and then shot down to Christchurch for Super Round on the Sunday. A live show too at the Carlton. That was bloody good fun. Shout out to the TAB. Shout out to Waterlad for jumping on, and thanks to everyone that came along. It was just a great way to kick off the Sunday. There were a few dusty customers in the crowd, but once they got a few tins into them, they came back to life, and you just can't beat the buzz of a live show. Good to get the energy flowing around the room. Hopefully the first of many. Would love to do one for the Wars Cowboys game down there too, so that might have to be something that we work on. But Henry, mate, you were down there in Christchurch all weekend. You just got back as well. That was one of the great sporting weekends, I reckon.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it, like catching up with a lot of the NRL action. Obviously had other things to do while I was down there, but caught lots of the Warriors game. And then, yeah, I was just pleased with how everything went. Like, to see 35k at the Warriors and then 73,000 at the Super Round altogether, all up for 3 days, is just exceptional considering how New Zealand sports fans are, I think, and shows sort of that there is an appetite for live sport and people wanting to go to these games. So that's what I was probably most pleased about, is that it shows that people can still get bums on seats at sports in New Zealand, and that not that the prices are probably coming down, but there's sort of a mix of people being able to go to more games. And yeah, how good was it? Great weekend.
Yeah, it's good to see people prioritising sport as entertainment, right? Cost of living goes up, petrol and everything, but people are still willing to spend some coin to have a good time and watch the sporting teams that they love. And I think both Wellington and Christchurch were good testament to that. And also the amount of people that travelled from Auckland, or even like Aussies at Super Round. People just love sport, It pulls on a different type of heartstring, and suddenly you find some cash because it's a great little relief from real life as well. Like, I felt like I could have been in another country on the weekend at both destinations. It was pretty unreal to see. Let's kick straight into the NRL, Round 8. And we mentioned people spending money to go to sporting events. That was the highest attended round in NRL history. Just over 220,000 people came through the gates for those 8 games. And obviously Anzac Round is super special because the NRL have always done that really well. There's some great matchups, some good rivalries there, and it was bums on seats across all 8 games, so great to see. Tigers kicked us off with a 33-14 win. I felt like they were the much better side in this one. Raiders, obviously, with a load of injuries, and they suffered some more in this game too, which certainly didn't help them. I think aside from when the Tigers were down to 12 with Api Korosau going off, and the Raiders scored 2 tries in that space, apart from that, they never really looked like winning this game. And he's out for 3 weeks now. That is a massive blow for the Tigers for sure. But I thought Adam Dewey was unreal, finished with 17 points. That SJ prediction he made on Play On about him potentially being Dally M at the start of the season, that is looking bloody good. I thought Twal was massive, 57 tackles, no misses. That guy's been on a tear, 93 fantasy points. Fuck, I wish I had him in my team. I just can't afford the bloke. Terrell May, 63 minutes, 204 run meters, 30 tackles, none missed. He is pushing for an Origin jersey. And I thought Luke Laulili was good on the wing too. For me, though, it's the Tigers' defense, Like, they're scoring plenty, but they're holding opposition teams to, I think 21 is the most points they've conceded all year. And that was in that 1-point loss to the Broncos. They've changed their mindset completely around. They used to be this all-out attack but concede a shit ton. Now they can defend.
Yeah, they seem more disciplined under Benji this year. Like, he seems to have got them sort of understanding the way of, actually, if we can defend strongly, it's a bit like the Warriors. If we can defend really strongly, our attack comes off the back of that. And like you said, the dangerous players that they do have, like, shit, if they get some front football, if they get some time in the opposition 20, like, it's dangerous for teams. And I'm just liking the passion that's sort of coming from that team. Like, Benji's got them humming, and Leichhardt Oval. Like, if they play at Leichhardt Oval in front of a full packed house every week, like, I know obviously not every week because of away games, but if their home games are there, I know that if they make finals, it won't be because of the NRL take over the fixtures, right? So they'll be somewhere else. But could you imagine the advantage there? So, yeah, pleased with how it's going for the Tigers because obviously Benji's a great man. So, yeah, pleased with how he's got them, and he's got them humming, really.
Yeah, that you mentioned passion in the jersey. So much of that is shown in the defense, right? Willing to put the body on the line. And they've got a pretty stacked squad. Like, they lost Kai Pearce-Paul for moments in this game too, but they have some depth, man. We saw Makasini go out, Luke Laulili come in. He had a great game with 2 tries. So, yeah, Tigers looking the real deal at the moment. Interesting, Jerome Luai touring in PNG. I see Alex Johnston has become their first player signed just earlier this afternoon. So I think that's right. That's the perfect first signing. Greatest try scorer in NRL history and PNG international. He's a massive deal over there. So great to kick things off with a true PNG rep as your first signing. This Jerome Luai one, really interesting for me. Obviously, he has a clause where he could play for the Tigers in 2027 and then jump straight across to PNG in 2028 for their first season. He's on about 1.2, they're saying, at the Tigers, and that equivalent, signing with PNG, because it's tax-free, would be over $2 million a year. Personally, I think Luai has shown that he is willing to move in order to take on a challenge. Like, he left the Panthers for more money to go to the Tigers, take on this challenge, and look at the Tigers now. This is a move I could see someone like Jerome making. We've had all these superstar names thrown up to sign with PNG, and a lot of them haven't been believable, but this is one I could convince myself on, and I think it'll be a really good signing for PNG in terms of not only is he a star player that would bring that star power to help encourage other players to go across, he's also the type of guy that teammates love him. He's a bit no frills. He doesn't cop any shit. And he's a winner, man. Like, he can turn places around. Whether you hate him or love him, he does bring with him certain attributes that can bring the best out of his teammates and also set a club up for success. So I'm interested to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it either. I think for PNG, I think it's an ideal signing in the 6 jersey. If you can, because I feel like the halves in the NRL, there's enough of them around that you can get a game driver, kicking half, that's going to just sort of get the team around the field, sort of like a Tanner Boyd type. But it's those elite sixes that you can't really get that often. I think, in my opinion, I think that's the way the sort of the halves are shaping at the moment. So I think that a Luai signing just brings that championship mentality to PNG, and I know it's a long way away, and I know there's going to be a lot of work to do before they're a championship side, but I think it's the right sort of signing that, for me, that's something that I would spend money on compared to another position maybe.
Yeah, 100%. It was cool to see him too, like the fanfare around him. I reckon he's the type of guy, like, PNG rolled out the red carpet and the fans went crazy because they are so passionate about their footy. It's their national sport, and I reckon Jerome would kind of feed off that shit too. Like, he likes being the centre of attention. He's got that swagger around him, so I think that would be a big appeal for him as well, because for some players, it just won't be their cup of tea, right? Living in a compound and all that, regardless of how much money there is, it is going to be chaos over there. I think the other draw too is that he will be in Sydney a lot, so whether he takes his family with him or not, he probably doesn't have to, because he'll be in Australia every second weekend, and the money, like 2.2 mil plus a year, is just too good for someone with a young family to say no to. So watch this space. I wouldn't be surprised if they get that one done. Cowboys versus Sharks on the Friday night. This was your TAB code game, and shit, if you had try scorers in this one, there was plenty to choose from. 80 points in 80 minutes. Pretty insane. We had Murray Taulagi with a hat-trick, Reid Marnie, Taulagi, Nanai, all back in the Cowboys team, and they did look a whole lot better. I thought Drinkwater was really good in this game. A try, 3 try assists. Really good pickup for the Dragons. Talk about a team that needs some creativity at the back. At least Drinkwater can make something happen. He can be rocks or diamonds at times, but at least he's either going to score you points or cost you points, but I think the Dragons are willing to take that gamble. For the Sharks, interesting one for me, like 9th on the ladder. We've called them flat track bullies, and it's come back to hurt us as of recent weeks, especially when they bet us. But this is kind of the perfect example of what we're talking about, right? To dish up this type of performance off the back of a bye is pretty damn disappointing. They go Tigers this week, then they go Bunnies. I'm surprised the Tigers 2 underdogs this week against the Cows, so that could be an early get on. They'll go Bunnies next week, and then the Dogs before a bye. I'm really interested to see where they sit in 3 rounds' time once that bye hits. I can see them sliding big time, the Sharkies. They don't look like the Sharks, even of last year, like you'd back them to defend. This year, they're not doing that.
Yeah, it's an odd one. It is an odd one. They're almost hard to figure out, because that game against the Warriors that they played, I thought they showed signs of being the sort of team that we expect them to be at home. Like, away from home's a different story, but I'm pretty sure we'll get onto the tips soon, but I'm pretty sure I picked the Sharks and I thought they were going to win. And
You did.
I was like, and I just thought that, not that the flat track bully would have been a thing this weekend, because obviously the Cows are an okay side, but they just have been like conceding 46 points. Like, you just can't win NRL games doing that. And I feel like even when we played them, we should have had more points not more points than 46, but more than we got. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like that's probably where they're going wrong a little bit, because 34 points, you'd still back yourself to win the game when you score 34 points, wouldn't you?
For sure, and it's an interesting one for Craig Fitzgibbon, right? He's got so many players off contract at the end of this year, and one thing you could say about the Sharks is, like, defense, they were always pretty solid in that aspect, and they would beat teams that they should beat and then lose to the top teams, and they'd find themselves in finals. This year, it doesn't look very similar to the trends over the last few years, and they have, I would say, 10 big names off contract at the end of this year. So either goes full clean out, or he sticks with this group and they spend some money to re-sign them, because a few of them's contracts will go up as well. So it's almost a bit of a crossroads for the Sharks, and I can't imagine Fitzgibbon's that fizz to re-sign the majority of this group, because it doesn't look like they're a championship team. Like, you can only be so content with coming fourth or fifth every year, and this year it looks like they're going to be well below that. So
yeah, they're in a weird sort of window, right, where they've got a lot of experienced players and then some youngsters, but not sort of there's no clear progression with them. It's almost like they're going to sit around this level, like you just said, and sort of compete and maybe win a finals game here and there, but not really actually compete. So I feel like they're in an interesting crossroads with their squad, and in the next couple of years, they're probably going to figure that out and sort of either rebuild or go full out for a premiership while they've got these guys.
Yeah, this next team reminds me of them too, the Dogs, in a very similar situation, right? Got done by the Broncos, and under-strength Broncos too, 32 points to 12. Broncos completed at 93%. Dogs at just 72. I thought Adam Reynolds was the difference in this game. Down troops, but his kicking game was just so good. He put the ball in the right areas. They killed the Dogs from their mistakes, and they made plenty of them. Poor Marcelo Montoya. I'm a big fan. He's a great bloke, but man, he's had a tough couple of weeks, and this one was one of the toughest. They picked on his edge for sure and exposed him, but they won that kicking battle 822 metres to 385. Which is crazy. Reynolds kicked for 718 metres, 2 forced dropouts. He just had the ball on a string, and it's moments in games like this where he shows his worth still. He's experienced. He has one of the best kicking games in the competition, and without a Paddy Carrigan, without a Haas, without a Reece Walsh, he can just take over, simplify things, and they get the job done. I thought Xavier Willison was really good as well. I didn't see him playing this big of minutes, and it's almost like a glimpse into life without Payne Haas for them next year. 170 run meters a try, 4 tackle breaks. I don't think the big fella had that in him.
Nah, and he's a good player in your fantasy team too if you've got him. But I've had some issues with Adam Reynolds, and I think we've talked about this quite a lot on the show actually, just about how old he is, and that's like, he's not that old, but I'm saying just in rugby league context about sort of where he was and how he's always injury prone. And I felt like this was actually a game that actually showed his value a lot, and what he actually brings to the side, the experience. And I feel like when they've got Carrigan and Haas and other players, they don't need Reynolds there. Like, they can have the Walshes take over and they've got enough experience there, but without him, Reynolds is key. So yeah, I think that's an interesting sort of discussion around Reynolds and where he's at in his career.
Yeah, I agree. Like 36 in July, I feel like when they have Walshy and all that, they want to play fast and he slows them down. But when he's allowed to run the cutter like this without those guys, he can play slow almost better than any other 7 in the comp. So a great win. Basically, the Dogs, their own worst nightmare. And well, their defense, they've conceded 70 points in the last 2 games. And if you throw away that Penrith win, they're 102 points in 3 of their last 4 games combined. I feel like last year, the Dogs were a defensive juggernaut, eh? Like, they would drag you and not allow any points, barely. This year, way different. There's a different vibe there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, the Blues in rugby have conceded like 86 points in 2 games and then another 33 this weekend. And you're like, you just can't sustain that to be a title contender. And the Dogs is just such an interesting one. Like, it's almost, I feel like in the NRL this year, there's so many teams that are like, they can't be this bad, right? Like they've got to get it right eventually, right? So it's interesting, and yeah, the mix of talent and the way that they play is interesting. Like, Serraldo's a great coach, but just not sure it's all clicking at the moment.
One team that genuinely is shit is the Dragons. They lost 62 points to 16 to the Roosters. I tipped out Dragons halftime, Roosters full time.
And I got on it.
I could not have been more wrong. That is for
I got
sure.
on it.
Did ya? Apologies for
Yeah, and
that,
I had
mate.
a look at it.
Apologies.
And I was like,
I thought if the Dragons had scored first, perhaps things could have been a little bit different, but tried to disallow, fair enough too. Crazy day at the office for Dragons fans. One of the biggest days on the rugby league calendar, a rivalry they get up for. Anzac Day against the Roosters. It always sells out, and 68% completion rate. Just brutal. I thought Toby Couchman was probably the only guy that could leave that game for them with his head held high. 44 tackles, 133 run meters. Geez, Cade Reid, I've been talking him up. I've wanted to see him. Welcome to first grade, son. 10 tackles, 6 missed. They went hard at his edge, and geez, did they get reward. You couldn't help but think Kyle Flanagan, Shane Flanagan, sitting back watching that one from the comfort of the couch, being like, see, lads, I told you it all wasn't me, but... Well, they had the bye this week. Famous 2 points for them. Their fans can finally relax and enjoy themselves. This is showing no signs of relief anytime soon.
Yeah, the NRL's better for it this weekend, I think, without having them play. So, which is tells you a bit about the story of them this season. Yeah, disappointing. You're right. Shane Flanagan will be. I think he'll be smiling. I'm not sure Kyle will be, but I think Shane will be, like, with his nice little paycheck probably that he got. So yeah, but it's just dire scenes really.
James Tedesco carved up 278 run meters, a try, 2 line breaks, 2 try assists, 5 tackle breaks. Dylan Edwards had himself a heck of a game for Penrith too, but that is a great shootout between those two to wear the number 1 jersey in Origin. Quick question for you, because I'm a Blues fan, and I think they'll go with Edwards because of the Cleary combo, but you're a Queensland fan. Which one of these two makes you more nervous if they are in our side? Because I feel like Edwards, you know what you're getting. Tedesco, bit more of a game breaker, but he likes controlling the cutter. He likes getting the ball early, which I don't feel like is part of the New South Wales and Nathan Cleary system. So which one makes you more nervous?
I think this might be contradicting myself, but I think if I was New South Wales, I would pick Edwards. But I think... as a Queensland fan, I'm more worried with Tedesco, if that makes sense. Like, if I was New South Wales, I just think the combination with Cleary and Edwards, you know what he's going to get. That's who I'd pick. But as a Queensland fan, I'm less nervous if Edwards plays, just because he's not going to really win you the game by himself, I don't think. I wonder how many games he's done that in his career. Like, I know he's won like some medals and things like that, and obviously 4 championships, so he's no slouch, but he's not James Tedesco with the ball in hand. So that's probably where I'd go, but I'm not sure whether that makes sense of who I'd rather.
It does, and I actually feel exactly the same. Like, if for Teddy, for out-and-out attack, crazy, but as I said, like, he likes to semi-do his own thing. He needs the ball early anyway, and that's what the Roosters do. If Teddy wants it, he gets it, and I feel like it's not quite that way in Origin, and we've seen that over the last few years where he's struggled a little bit at that level. I thought Sam Walker was really good in this game too. His best performance of the year, 26 points, 2 tries, 9 from 11 off the boot. Him and Nwanganetawase really strong. So good win for the Roosters. No doubt they won't be celebrating that one too hard though, because the opposition were not good at all. Warriors Dolphins, 20 points to 18. Surly set a 6 live yesterday, so check that out for the full review. But basically, we commended our defense, 58 odd points. We kept the Dolphins scoreless to bring that game home. It wasn't always pretty on attack. In the first half, we got dragged into a Dolphins style of game plan where I thought we were a bit lateral. Second half, Webby clearly gave the boys a rev up. I thought Aaron Clark, Fisher Harris, Jackson Ford really got us going forward in the second 40, and that resulted in us getting the win. I think as well, AKP, Tane, some X factor out wide. We were able to ice a couple opportunities. Still made a load of errors in our own half, but thankfully we were good enough to defend them. And it's just the 2 points that we bank against the Dolphins side that the week before took the Panthers to Golden Point. They're no slouch, and to be at perhaps 7 out of 10 in terms of performance and come away with a win on a big occasion and grind that one out, it's satisfying, because I feel like Warriors teams in the past would have lost that game.
Yeah, absolutely we would have. Like, in past years, I almost wasn't nervous watching it, which is an interesting one. I was in Christchurch and I only watched the 60 and then had to watch the final 20 later, but I didn't even feel nervous because it was nerve-wracking the final 10 minutes and 15 because of sort of the scoreline, but I was impressed with the performance. Like, it was really important to get that win. Like you said, past Warriors teams, no chance we would have won that game. No chance we would have gone to Wellington, drawn the 35,000 crowd and won that game, Like, it just wouldn't have worked. Defensively, exceptional. We sort of earned the attack this week, which I feel like in past weeks, maybe sometimes when we've gone off our game, we haven't been defending well enough to actually earn the attack. So I think that's a positive. Tane, we talked a lot in Surly Set of Six about Tane and the battle with Chance and how we feel bad for both players, and actually the attitude of both players has actually been really impressive and admirable. So yeah, I think that's the key takeaways, is that we got the win. There was some good performances, massive crowd, which I'm sure you'll touch on shortly. But yeah, just some positive things out of that. And you're not going to win every game by 20. You're going to have some ugly moments, and the Dolphins are a good side. So it was a good one.
Yeah, rather win and learn than lose and learn for sure. And yeah, that Wally crowd, outstanding. From the moment you arrived, it was just a sea of Warriors colours, one of the biggest game day merch sales in the club's history, and just so cool. You can tell there's a real appetite for it down there, a city that has predominantly been rugby fans, but good to see them get around the Warriors, and cool to see the community events really well appreciated too. I saw on the news Dane Coles was at one of them with his kids, so a couple Hurricanes legends in the mixer, but I think it just goes to show, like, we truly are, the Warriors are a nationwide team. It's not, I know they play at Go Media for 99% of their games, but we have support all up and down the country, and Warriors stocks are at an all-time high. So long may this continue. Long may Wally get more games. I think it had been 3 years since their last one. Shit, did they show up and show that they want more games yearly. It's going to be interesting moving forward, like whether they lock this in as an annual fixture. You got Christchurch to feed as well with this beautiful stadium, which the Wires will do later in the year. And I still reckon it would go off in Dunners too, I reckon the students would really get around it. So cities wanting to host the Warriors, it is a great problem to have. You even floated Eden Park for Anzac Day. I reckon that would be insane as well. But that's in Auckland too, so would that piss off a few fans? I'm not too sure. Would be a cool experience though. To try get 50-odd thousand there on Anzac Day would be a lead.
Yeah, there's a couple of ideas there that we should get around the boardroom with Cameron George and co. But definitely I think there's, like the Dunedin one actually, when now you say that, geez, a zoo on a Saturday afternoon or something on O Week, like think of that. And I feel like the stadium would fill out, definitely. And I think it's actually crucial with Christchurch's momentum after Super Round. You know how there's been floated ideas of a new A-League team in Christchurch, a new NRL team in Christchurch. It's actually crucial for the Warriors in the next year or two to take as many games out of the area as they can to secure those fans. And I know it's not as simple as that, because people will often support the team that's in their city. But if you think of how many fans you'll capture in Christchurch and in Dunedin and in Wellington just by taking games there, rather than when their new side comes, if it does come, like that they'll have less fans, right? So I think that's a crucial thing for the Warriors in the next couple of years.
Yeah, secure ourselves as New Zealand's team. 100%. And I think the weekend shows the appetite is there, and if the appetite's there, the club will do it, I reckon, because not only is it good for the game and good for the club, it's great financially too. So, yeah, a successful weekend all around, and well done to Wellington for really turning it on. Good to see that stadium packed. It looks good when it's full. Tough stadium to watch the game at, which we dived into on Surly Set of Six, but when it's full, it's a cool atmosphere, almost Coliseum-like, so pretty unreal there. Storm 6, Bunnies 48. Holy shit. I can tell you we both got this one wrong in our tipping, as I went back and listened to before. I was expecting Melbourne to bounce back. Bunnies never won a game in Melbourne, and this is the first time the Storm have lost 6 in a row. It is pretty wild. I thought the Bunnies' big dogs really stood up, set the tone. Cody Walker, Cam Murray, Latrell Mitchell, really good. Latrell, 12 points, 2 try assists. He had 3 line break assists, 2-point field goal. He was feeling himself, and he is one that is looking dangerous for Origin. I thought Dufty was really good again too. Like, what do they do when Jai Gray's back? He's gone back-to-back 300 run-meter games. He had a try assist, 7 tackle breaks. I feel like Because he was good and then he went across to the Super League. I feel like him coming back with these new rules and the faster game, I feel like it suits him a little bit more.
He like the forgotten man almost, and like he wasn't wanted in the Super League.
Ah,
Like that's a crazy thing.
he was playing
to be able
bees,
to
right?
go. Yeah. So that unreal player.
Mm.
Like there's no doubting the talent. It's an interesting it's an interesting career trajectory, I think.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, great player, and the Bunnies look on form. If Cody Walker's in a mood and other players like that, then shit, they're a trouble.
Tell you what, Talis Duncan's a footballer. Gee, 3 tries from him. He was outstanding. I think his dad is in the army, or they're all like in the services anyway. So he was talking about how much Anzac Day means to him. I think his granddad as well. So they're a big kind of military defence force family. You could tell he was up for this one. I was gutted to see the Cheese go down injured. Only lasted 12, 13 minutes. Looked like the same calf again. Poor bloke just can't catch a break, regardless of sorting his life off the field. Like on the field, things aren't going his way. So that was a little bit sad to see for the Storm. Pretty crazy territory there, and they completed at 65% in this game. They lost the line break count 14-1. 14 errors. That's just not Melbourne at all. They now sit 16th on the ladder. The only 2 wins have come against the 2 other teams in the bottom 3, the winless Dragons and the Eels. So those wins don't look great either. They go Dolphins, Tigers in the next 2 weeks. I see them losing both. They're now going to be without Jerome Hughes. What they would do to have Ali Katoa and Pappenhausen back, but there's more to it than that as well. There has to be.
I haven't seen a Storm team make this many errors, like drop the ball in just simple things like catch and pass. Like there's such a sort of like not a basic team, but the fundamentals of the game. They're strong in the carry, like they've got the strong structure and everything. And yeah, it's odd. Like Bellamy's pulling his hair out. I think he's almost lost. Like he doesn't know. He's almost stuck trying to teach them how to catch and pass because he's like, I can't believe how shit we've been, really. We as in Storm. So yeah, it's been an odd one.
He does look lost, and I reckon that's because he knows his roster's not up to it. And I think the Lomax scramble was a sign of that, but I think the biggest problem is in the middle. Like the middle now, with how fast the game has got, is so important. It's a momentum possession territory game. We've spoken about it heaps, and their forward pack, they ran for 509 metres, their starting pack on the weekend. To put that into perspective, Fish, Aaron Clark and Jacko Ford went for 543, just those 3 of them. So they outran the whole Storm pack, just those 3. Their only points in this game was off a short kickoff and some far long or magic. Like that was even un-Melbourne like the way that was scored, because that was pure razzle-dazzle. The depth of their squad is nowhere near as good as it's been in years gone past, and I think as a result, their spine, they're trying to create shit from nothing, and that's where the errors come from, because they can't get any go forward, any momentum. They can't put themselves in good positions to score, so they're having to try and fire shots and come up with these uncharacteristic plays, and it's just not working. I can't say I'm mad at it, though. I loved watching that game. I was back at the hotel. I was with Kepi and those guys from the Warriors, because we're staying at the same hotel, and they were reiterating the fact, how good is it to see the Storm losing? And it's just because they've been so good for so long. But a lot of people too saying, remember, Penrith were bottom after round 12 last year. To me,
they were 2-6, weren't they?
Yeah. To me, though, that seems different. Like, you could see there that they had the talent to get themselves out of it. I don't know outside of the Storm's spine if they do.
Yeah, I'm for some reason I'm not fully convinced of counting them out just yet.
Wow.
I'm not saying they're going to come 5th or 4th, but I'm saying the 8, like the 7, even 8. I feel like they could do it if the Panthers can do it. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't rule them out, but Munster's form's worrying. Like, you can see the frustration. I looked a couple of times when they dropped the ball, and if you look at the other players that aren't in the play, and it's like they almost like turn and like throw their arms in frustration, and that's a sign of some bad momentum. So yeah, worrying signs for the boys in Melbourne.
Yeah, they're just not on the same page at the moment. And when you look at Talis Duncan, like he made a point of going after Munster, and I think Munster finished with 6 missed tackles. It's crazy. And when you look at, like, he's the Origin skipper. So he's going to find some form eventually, but I just don't know if they have the cattle to turn it around. I looked like an idiot last year. I declared Penrith done when they were sitting at last, and I don't want to make that same mistake again. But, you know, with Cleary and all those guys, you could see it. I'm just not seeing that. Like, they need to sign a big middle forward that can blockbuster and get them some meters, and I just don't think that player exists. Like, if Katoa, I see they've gone now to try and get expert opinion on Katoa and when he can return, which to me screams desperation too.
That's desperate.
Yeah, they haven't said that they're trying to get him back ASAP for this year, but that's kind of what it insinuates, right?
Yeah, it does. Nah, I'm not a fan of that at all. I'm not going to say he needs to medically retire, but he needs to have a year off at least, or a couple of years. So that's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, and it would look really poor if that's what they said at the start of the year, and then they bring him back because they're sitting in 16th. That would not get rugby league fans happy, that is for sure. Sunday, Panthers just rolled through the Knights, 44 points to 12. Again, Knights, 65% completion. I think this weekend was a great example of what we've been saying, right? Got to complete to compete, especially against the good teams. Won't run through too much here. Dylan Edwards, though, 292 run meters, 3 tries, a try assist, 7 tackle breaks. Just another day at the office for him, but some massive numbers there. I thought Alamotti was outstanding too. 213 run meters, 12 tackle breaks, all with a double. Their back five is just so deadly in yardage and scoring potential. Milky Jenkins finally didn't score. Shout out to Blake Ashford. Literally the walking curse, got on him for a double, and I think it was his first time doing that, and he stopped him. So well done to Ash.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, there's not much that can stop them at the moment, but Blake Ashford's clearly one of the things.
He is. And then Manly got the win at 33 points to 18. Fosball continues to get results. I think the main standout from this game for me was Hamole Olakau'atu, 226 run meters, 9 tackle breaks, 98 post contact, 20 tackles, and a massive shot on Dylan Walker. Shout out to Walks. Has to be one of the toughest blokes for getting back up after that one. He must have been in some serious pain. He's pushing for a New South Wales jersey too. For Para, just missing too many players. A good time for us to get them, although in saying that, bogey side for us historically, I seem to remember them always coming to Mount Smart, down on troops. No Dylan Brown, no this person, no that person in the past and beating us. So I will not be taking this week lightly. It's rich for me to say I'm not playing, but I don't think the players will be either. They will want to get the job done in this one, but for some reason, Para, them losing, like we saw what they could do 2 weeks ago against the Dogs. Then they dish this shit up. They're unpredictable, and they seem to always give us our best for some reason.
Yeah, they're hard to judge, and I wouldn't be... Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to take them lightly either.
Great to hear.
So we're on the same page, but hopefully the Warriors boys are too, because, Mitch Moses on some good form, and like if he is, and some other players like that, they're a dangerous side, and like we've said, in the NRL, anyone can beat anyone if they're on their day. Even if you're off your game, the team that's maybe not on their game fully either can beat you. So, yeah, definitely some interesting talking points this weekend.
It would just be our luck too. Team naming Tuesday tonight, everyone's back for Para. It seems to always
all
be
13 of them.
Always the way for the Warriors. Should we get into our tipping? It was a big weekend, and you were panicked in the WhatsApp yesterday about what the score could be, so I went back and listened to all of our tips. It was 5-3 heading into this weekend. The new rule, the experimental law we brought in, much like the NRL, we're all about entertainment here at Surly Talk Sport.
I reckon we get rid of it.
We're trying to get a better product for the fans, and that is what we have done. Jeez, has it run amok this week. I can tell you, I will be picking first this week, so that might be an advantage for you. There you go.
Definitely.
You went Tigers by 6. I went Tigers by more. That was a win for me. You took the Sharkies. I took the Cows. That was a win for me. We both took the Doggies. Nothing there. You took the Roosters by 14. I took them by under. You well and truly got that one.
Yeah, how good. That should be 2 points. Because double the points of how they...
Next, if you'd taken them by 50, I'd probably give you the bonus.
Yeah.
You took the Warriors by 8. I took us 13 plus. So you get the win there.
7-5.
I took the Storm. So did you. Nothing there.
Yep.
You took the Panthers by 14. I took them by more. That was a win for me.
7-6.
And you took Para, I took Manly. So a win.
So is that 7-all?
So I've got
Or is
here,
it 8-7 to you?
that I had 4 wins, you had 2, and 2 no scores. So yes,
Yeah.
she's 7-all.
So 7-0, yeah.
Big week.
Okay. Now I'm happy. I'm actually happy with that because what was I saying in the WhatsApp? I was panicked. Like I went back and I think it was Saturday Arvo before the Warriors game. I was walking to the stadium in Christchurch and I was like, shit, I wonder what the tips are. Went back and had a listen to the first 3 games, the 2 Friday night ones and Thursday, and I thought the season was over almost. So I'm actually glad that it's only 7-0. Like I've sort of wrangled it back.
I reckon what we do this week is we go game for game. Who picks first?
No, you're the leader now. Like you've come from behind. You're now technically the leader. You lead off. That's got to be how it is.
Okay.
Or unless no. So what we'll do is because we're even, the person who had the most the week before, the most right the week before.
You know, I see what you're doing. You're changing the rules to suit you. It's fair enough. I'll
but
change
like you
them
did
to
last
suit
week.
me, so
yeah,
it's only right. Rugby. Well, speaking of Super Round and being down at the stadium, what a weekend, man. And obviously you were there for all 3 days. I was only there for 1, but my instant thoughts were, what a stadium. Geez, the Christchurch deserve this. They have dealt with Apollo projects for extremely long time, and they made that a home, but it was never going to be permanent. This new stadium is just beautiful. I watched the games on Sunday from 3 different points across the stadium just to get the full picture, and there is not a bad seat in the house. The stands are steep, but they're not so steep that it gives you that nauseous feeling. Like it still only holds, 30,000? So it's not like a 70,000er where you're right at the top, but you almost get a drone-like view from wherever you are in the stands. There is literally not a bad seat in the house. I think the food, they nailed it too. It ticked every box for me. I was lucky enough to be on the field before the Highlanders-Moana game. Just the atmosphere, the buzz. Obviously, the roof helps create that, but it is so sick looking up at those stands. This is the best stadium in New Zealand by a country mile for me.
Yeah, it is. I heard Jack Mesley say over the weekend, he said to a couple of us that the best thing that he heard was that someone said that he can't believe he's in New Zealand. Like someone said, I can't believe I'm in New Zealand at a stadium that looks like this, the vibe of everything. I haven't been to Magic Round, but I'd assume that it's along the lines of that sort of weekend. Yeah. Just the fans, like the jerseys and everyone, and Super Rugby's had its issues and had its doubters, and we've talked about it endlessly on the show. But yeah, it was a positive weekend. Shout out to everyone that went down. 14,000 people from around the world, a couple from the Europe apparently, and Fiji and the US and Australia, hundreds and hundreds of people wearing different jerseys. Christchurch was packed. And if you haven't been around the Riverside Market where the live site was, there was a live site maybe about a 12-minute walk from the stadium, packed. Everyone eating food, bars, drinks, like cafes. You couldn't hardly get a seat at cafes and bars. Then you did the walk to the city and everything about the stadium. Like you said, I echo all of your thoughts. Just crazy. Not a bad seat in the house. They've done it well. No negatives for me, really. And it was just a great weekend, in my opinion.
But I love that walk too. Like the whole time walking down that strip, you can see the stadium at the end, and it's not far. And just the closer you get, the excitement builds. There's bars. It's literally a 10-minute trot to get back into the city. So you can go to the stadium, have a bloody good time. You can pre-drink before, and then it's not long to get back into the mixer to pre-drink after. I feel like they've nailed that. I heard some chat, there's a Macca's going in the stadium, which I loved the smoky teas. I loved it was all of the big local restaurants in there, which was a really cool feel. They had a dairy in there, which was packed with kids. I like how the toilets are on the lower level too, so you're not queuing for food amongst people queuing for the toilet and it just blocks the whole concourse. Like, they've really thought things through. There was the corporate areas, I noticed, the stands outside, there's fridges at the end of the rows so that you don't have to go inside for beers, which screams to me someone knew what they were doing when they were planning this. I just feel like they've ticked every single box. And surely, because this was a 1-year deal, right? Surely Super Round has to go back there. I think Christchurch is custom built for it.
Oh, it's the best place to have it. Like, they've been starved of that much code in the last 10 years or whatever. Yeah, ideal. Everything you just said is correct. Like the dairy, just everything, all the food places, the drinks. I went for a tour on Friday morning, and it was incredible. Like we went and sat at different spots and on around the ground, and like we went to the top row, the highest seat in the house, well, in the stadium, and it was not a bad view at all. Like it was incredible. The toilets, like you said, just great. It's easy to exit the stadium. That's a big one. It's not going to be like you're going to be spending 10 minutes to try to get out the stadium. So many exits. And that strip of like bars and stuff is just incredible. And I feel like if they go back there next year, everything will just continue to get better. They'd sell it out again. I'd have no doubt about that. And yeah, I can't speak positively enough about the stadium, about what Super Rugby did. So if you haven't been, you've got to get down there. And anyone on social media complaining about stuff, that's just completely out of pocket, in my opinion.
100%. I can't help but think how good it's going to be when the Warriors are down there. Like I was there on the Sunday, and the atmosphere was still electric. I can only imagine what Friday night was like, and even Saturday night with that game going to Super Round. But they've ticked every single box, and I feel like the Christchurch people are so grateful to have you there as well, that they are so accommodating. Oh yeah, I reckon this stadium has nailed it well and truly in every single way. So stoked for that weekend, stoked for Christchurch, and let's hope it lives there. Great to see too, like the stands, because they're so steep, those stairs, as soon as you come around the corner with a tray of beers, everyone's making you neck them. Like it semi had that minor Wellington type sevens feel where it could just explode in the next couple of years. There were people dressed up, crew of blokes just wearing headgear. Everyone was like in jerseys. I reckon it could get a real party vibe to it as it picks up momentum over the next few years.
Yeah, I saw a couple of Western Force jerseys, which is just crazy considering they weren't even there.
Heaps of WAS kit.
Lots of WAS kit. There was also, like, it was cool to see at each game. I mean, I think for the final 4 games, it probably was 20K there, not 25, because people were in and around, coming in and out for both games and on the concourse, watching from different spots. But incredible, man. Like, I just loved it. Loved every bit of it. And if you haven't been, put it in your calendar next year when it gets announced, because it's a definite hell of a weekend. And I just hope they bloody put it on a different day to the Warriors, because I want to go to that in Wellington or wherever that is as well. So if hopefully they just come together and sort it all out so that us sporting idiots can get it all at once.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mish going between the two, but shit, it was worth it. And I'm so grateful that I got to check the stadium out. So, yeah, really good fun. Crusaders got the job done. Geez, I was nervous that they were going to blow this opportunity to open the stadium at 14-13 at halftime, thanks to a last-minute try to Cody Taylor. I thought they were going to go into oranges down, and I was really worried for them that first 40. Cool to see, was it Pete Samu and Moanunu doing the haka back pre-game? That was really cool. 2 ex-Crusaders now playing for the Tars, so that was a nice touch. I thought Leicester was a real standout. Geez, he looked good in that 7 jersey. That was the selection everyone spoke about. I'll be interested to see if they run it back this week when the stakes are a little higher up against the Canes. But, man, you can't knock his performance. He was one of their best. I thought Dom Gardner was almost the perfect 6 to balance him out. He was unreal. I thought Leo Willie was really good. Fletcher Newell, Cody Taylor, Noah Hotham, Dallas McLeod in the backs. But to me, it was this Crusaders forward pack that really took the game over in that second 40 and made sure that they got the win, because it was interesting times there for a little bit. I was worried the Tars were going to steal the party, and well done to the Waratahs. 2 penalties to get the game started to make sure that they go down in history as the first points at One New Zealand Stadium.
Yeah, I'll be remembering that for the Spates bottle cap in years to come, of who scored the first points. Sid Harvey, his name. So just make sure you remember that. Great game. There was no way the Crusaders were going to lose us. I'm going to stick with that. There was no way they were going to lose it. It just wouldn't happen. The referees wouldn't let it happen. No one was going to let it happen. So that's that. Leicester, brilliant. Yeah, ticked all the boxes. I heard James Parsons sort of say that he was surprised that he wasn't at number 6 because of the defensive stuff at scrum time specifically. We saw him a couple of times on the back of the scrum, which, geez, he's dangerous. It gives me like a Keta Ioane vibes off the back of the scrum, just fending off people left, right and centre. So love that. We talked a little bit about that on Sunday at the live show with James Marshall about that, and that was one of his plays that didn't work. But yeah, impressed with everyone. Dom Gardner, brilliant. And yeah, there's Dallas McLeod, the midfielder that went to the right wing that scored 2 and should have had a 3rd. So yeah, I thought they were great.
It's interesting to hear Jimmy Maher say in the live show that was the longest coaching selection debate he has ever had, and he didn't even realise they'd settled on him in the 7 jersey. That caught him by surprise when he saw the team list. But yeah, Leicester at 7 this week. That is when we will see if this is a genuine thing, right? Because they take on the Canes. They've still got the Blues and the Chiefs, and then the Canes again to come. This next month is brutal for them, and this is typically when the Crusaders stand up and play their best footy. No Will Jordan, he said, for a couple of weeks, which was a bit of an exclusive, and I think they're going to miss his X factor, his strike, his leadership. So do they roll the dice with Leicester there? Do they go a genuine 7? That's what I'll be looking out most for team naming Wednesday for the Satyrs. Do you think they stick with it, or do you think perhaps we see him go back into the back line and then he moves into the loose forwards later on in the game? Because, to be fair, he's always had that work rate. He wants to be around the ball. It's probably more just set-piece time, right, where a Canes pack could expose him.
If Ethan Blackhead is fit enough to start, which I'm not sure he is and I'm not convinced he will, but if he is, or Corey Callow's good to go, I would have thought there'd be a little bit of a shuffle there and Leicester will go back to somewhere else or even on the bench. But I think the way that the team list currently is and how the squad is, I think he will play there again, whether it's 6 or 8 or 7, I don't know. But yeah, I'd assume they'll stick with him. Just they should just do it for the sake of Super Rugby game this weekend. Just do it.
Yeah, it certainly got tongues wagging, and that's all anyone was talking about over the weekend in the lead up to the game and post game. So yeah, great for the game, 100%. Also great for the game is Fehe Whinianganofo scoring 4 tries. A genuine hat-trick too, the first 3 of the game. This bloke is crazy. Another running rugby clinic from the Canes under the roof. You could tell they like the new stadium. And geez, that would look good in Wellington with a roof as well, taking the conditions out of that joint, because I just love their attack shape. They beat teams up in the middle and then they move the ball to the edges almost seamlessly with some bullet passes from Roigard, from Love, from Will Jordan. They make it look easy and they just give guys with X Factor time with ball in hand to beat defenders, and it really is a pleasure to watch. I thought Roigard and Love were great again. To me, that is looking more and more like an All Blacks combo every time you watch them play, and I thought Duplessis Kirifi was really good in game 100. I think the Brumbies were pretty damn dusty, let's be fair. That was a disappointing performance from them. They need more than just the superfood Charlie Cale back to turn things around, because they're on a little bit of a slide at the moment. But yeah, that Canes game against the Crusaders this weekend, that is a lip licker, because they are looking elite.
Yeah, they are. Good performance. Brumbies, woeful. Couldn't throw a line out, and their first 5 got hooked at halftime after 2 kicks inside the 22 that went dead.
Yeah.
So you can't be doing that against the Hurricanes under the roof. Yeah, it's an interesting thing about the under the roof thing with the Hurricanes. It's going to suit them. And the thing is that they're not going to get to play there probably. I think they do play there in the next couple of weeks, but I mean in finals time, because the Crusaders are unlikely to probably host a finals game. But yeah, for the players that are going to be in the All Blacks, it's going to be an absolute treat. Roigard, unreal. Geordie Barrett, also solid. And Fehi, like, it's a good sign when you get asked post-match what your favourite try is and you don't know which one to pick. So that's always a good sign. He's unreal. Like, just gives me Caleb Clark vibes. Like, I just love what he's doing in the air. Quick, good finisher. So yeah, if we can find a way to message Newcastle Red Bulls, we should get onto that now. But yeah, solid game, that one as well.
Go fund me to keep fair in New Zealand. I don't mind that. Also, thoughts on if you earn home ground advantage, you can pick any stadium in the country to play that game at. So we could see like a Canes Chiefs final down in Christchurch, because the Canes want to play it under the roof so they can razz it up.
It's a good point that you make, because Colin Mansbridge in the final press conference of the week with the Canterbury CEO and the Colin Mansbridge, Jack Mesley and the stadium CEO, he goes, I've put it out to the CEOs that if anyone does want to host a game and we'll give them a lot of the, a finals game, then he's happy to do that. I'm pretty sure he said it jokingly, but I think there's a bit of truth actually in it. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm a fan. I'll fly down. Can't wait.
Hell yeah. You know you're going to get entertainment. That's for sure. Entertainment, Blues, Reds, that delivered that. Super point at Super Round. But, man, nervous times. Speak about a game that could potentially come back to hurt you. If the Blues had lost that and it had ruined their top 2 or even top 4 hopes as the competition tightens up, then they would have kicked themselves for this one. An important win I thought the Reds' loose forward trio, or more so Harry Wilson, Fraser McWright, were really good. I loved the battle between Patrick Tuipulotu and Salakai Loto. Geez, they were going at each other. That was physical. In the end, though, Blues, for me, kicked too much ball away aimlessly. And I get that they wanted to back their defence. Their defence hasn't been great over the last couple of weeks, though. They've been leaking points compared to, say, 2 years ago when they won the comp, but they were really defence-based. I think they're trying to play a similar way, but it's not quite working for them at the moment. And Bodie, he frustrates me with some of those times where he just kicks the ball away. I think against the Canes and the Chiefs, you can't do that because their back three are that good, they will punish you. Zahn Sullivan, though, speaking of good back threes, loving watching him play. He's been a quality player for ages, just injuries have been his downfall. Like, he hasn't been able to consistently perform at that level or even be out on the paddock, but geez, he had a great game on the weekend. Probably saved them from embarrassment a little bit against the Reds.
Yeah, Zahn Sullivan was brilliant. And the best thing about him, and this might be a little bit like, oh, if that's the best thing, he's not that great. But his left boot is just an absolute, like, I don't know, it's a machine. Like, it's so good. Gets him out of trouble a lot of times. But his thing is that he carries the ball in two hands, powerful, like,
he's big,
strong.
eh?
He's a big lad. He's like, he's like, I think I'm going to say he's 6'5". He might be a little bit shorter than that, but he's huge, strong, played really well. Yeah, Bodie, that was a talking point after the game and in the press box during the game. I know one of my colleagues on Rugby Pass there'll probably be a thing published currently, an opinion piece about Bodie and what sort of that game was, because like you, it frustrated a heck of a lot of people, that performance. So I don't think he was bad. There's just parts of his game that may be slowing down a little bit or whatever. So there's an interesting conversation to be had there. But yeah, the Blues just conceding too many points.
Super Sunday, Landers 27, Moana 17. For me, the Landers got dragged into a bit of a Moana-style game here. They tried to play some razzle and they would have been frustrated not to capitalise on opportunities that they created, but then just push too many passes or stupid little kicks, some poor decision-making there, poor skill set execution that kept Moana in the game. I will say, though, Israel Leota, that try, that was my Michelob moment of the week this week. I have on good authority that he played a lot of AFL growing up. He took a heck of a catch over Lennox, gave him the aerial teabag, I'm calling it. He basically put his balls on the guy's face mid-air. That was a great display of individual skill. You can tell, obviously, NRL background too, come across from the Broncos. Apparently his dad is good mates with Tana, which is how he ended up at Moana, because he's had offers from Japanese and French rugby that supposedly were right up there money-wise, and other NRL clubs keen on him too. I'm interested to see where he goes in the future. He will be someone that won't be short of offers. He's been playing club rugby for East Coast Bays the last couple of weeks, and I don't want to see him play against Northcote, that is for damn sure. But what a try, man. Like, that is one of those freak individual skill moments where I get Lennox isn't the biggest human being, but it almost wouldn't have mattered who it was. He got so high. That was like an AFL specky catch, and then he finished it beautifully.
Yeah, it was probably one of the tries of the weekend, if not the try of the weekend. It was unreal. What a guy too, like, just sort of to be able to go play club rugby and then come into an environment under pressure. Like, it was a scrappy game. There wasn't much fluidity there, but to be able to pull that out of the bag, AFL type, great try. Looks even better when you watch it back. Like, live, it was like, holy heck, but it was even better live. So yeah, brilliant.
I thought the other winger, Tuitama, he was really good in the 14
good,
jersey.
yeah.
He impressed me. And that Vaihu, the other winger as well, the jersey 11, crazy footwork. He made a few things happen that weren't try-scoring moments, but line breaks that they just couldn't ice. He's another one that I would be looking at. And most importantly, like, we've spoken about him a few times now, but Tupo Ta'ialoa, if I'm the Landers, like, you got a first up-close look at the bloke that you should be signing for next year right there. Like, plays rugby for Southland, has been down in Otago since he was 12 years old, got a scholarship to board down at Otago Boys High. And when you think of ball-running, block-busting number 8s that would round out their loose forward trio perfectly next year, he's 8th for total carries, 4th on the tackle count, 4th in the comp for defenders beaten, and sits the top of the comp for post-contact meters. So he's doing it on both sides of the ball. He's not just a powerful ball runner, he's a big hitter as well, and a good work rate for a bigger body. If you think of Shannon Frizzell, a Lasanga or a Lucas Casey and then him at the back. That is a nice trio for the Landers. Surely they're in the market for him.
There'll be more than enough offers for him. Yeah, the Landers is an interesting one. I wonder whether he's like ruffled any feathers by not signing there at the start, or
did they
when
offer?
he went down to South. No, I'm not sure, but I'm saying that if you're from Southland and stuff, you go to the Highlanders, right? Like that's your sort of progression. So to not go to the Highlanders, it's an interesting one. I know he's Pacifica, but yeah, he's a great player. Just physical, like brushes people off like nothing. Sort of give me Latrell vibes, just pushing people off and shrugging people off whenever he wants. And yeah, great player.
I tell you what, if they don't get him, I'd love the Warriors to get him. He'd go good in the middle. Imagine that off the back fence. Holy shit. And he's got the skill set too. And for a big lad, like he is fit. He goes the distance. And at times watching him, it's like men against boys. Like he makes some really good players look small and weak. It was crazy to see. But Landers, they banked the win. They're going to have to be a whole lot better this weekend against the draw, though. Like I like the draw at $1.50 odds they are at the moment. It's meant to be thunderstorms and bar in Fiji. They've cooked up a special, and this is a big game for the Landers, right? Like we'll talk about it more on the preview pod, but if they want to play playoff footy, they have to win this one. I don't think they would have been very happy with that performance.
Nah, not at all. It was Jamie Joe in the post-match press. It was just like, he was just frustrated. He was happy with the win, but he was like, it's not all there. There's moments there where players are trying to do too much, and he didn't think the defence was that great at times, and then he thought they was great at other times, so it's just getting that all together into one performance. But yeah, it's a big game for them.
Chiefs draw, just quickly to wrap it up. I was flying while this game was on, but I will say I've heard of a defensive bomb. I've never seen a defensive grubber in goal. One of the craziest tries I've ever seen. This sums up the draw almost for me, right? Rocks or diamonds. On some days, he probably recollects that, goes 100 metres and scores, but that was not the time to pull out a grubber, let alone in your in goal. Did Jared Prophet ground the ball? I'm not 100% sold, but as a prop, that is the easiest try you will ever get. If you haven't seen the highlights of that one, go check it out. That is just insane footy. That is the definition of a brain explosion.
I just could not believe it. I genuinely could not believe it. Like, it was like everyone almost like stood up and was like, what's he doing? Like I know the draw love to run the ball, but like, I just couldn't believe it. I've watched it back a couple of times. Still don't know what he was thinking. Like, it was not one of those ones that you can sort of find excuses for. It was seriously average. And Glenn Jackson was not pleased about it after the game. He was like, you just can't do that. And then no, Jared Prophet did not plant the ball. There's no downward pressure. There's no nothing. Yes, it's his elbow and that it might have planted, but he's almost missed the plant. Like I can deal with it if he's gone to plant it, but it's hit his like arm and he's planted it with his arm. Yeah. But it's like the back of his elbow almost, and he hasn't planted it in my opinion. But someone will probably say otherwise. But yeah, that was my thoughts on that. Couldn't believe it.
Quick couple shout-outs to finish off. Shout-out to the NZ Under-20s for beating Aussie. Comeback win over in South Africa in that Under-20s Rugby Championship. Love to see that. And also the Touch Blacks. A good win for them. History over in Australia, right in Mudgee. Ropati, oh my gosh. The kid can play. E4 Jones, always unreal. Shout-out to Razor and Finn Barnett, two Coat lads. But a great result for NZ Touch. I watched the Saturday game live from my hotel and then the Sunday from the airport. I thought there was going to be scraps in both. Good to see the lads just, both teams giving it to each other. My mate Razor, he almost started a rumble when he scored in the corner there and walked across. Like, these guys were going at it. And the New Zealand team carried a little bit of a different swagger. Like, you could tell they wanted to muddy this one up a little bit. And that Ropati, I haven't watched him play before, but I know you love your touch yourself. That guy has footwork and speed to burn.
It was unbelievable. I'm so happy for, like, I know sort of what goes into it, and I've watched quite a lot of touch. Love the sport, love what it does, love the players and the skill set, the structure of it, the pace. It needs more recognition in this country. I don't think people sort of understand that type of athletes that play in that game and sort of the thought behind a lot of the moves and everything. And to see them rip in, like, just the emotion of the win. It was just such a special win. You could see the emotion when they were all running and getting together after the game and like celebrating. Just some of the players, the skill set. E4 Jones, like the most slippery player in touch, just unbelievable. And you sort of got the sense that that's just Kiwis. Like that stuff, I think it needs more recognition. I know there's a lot of comments and likes on the post on Instagram, but if you haven't watched the game, go and watch it. Ropati, E4 Jones, Durban Burgess, all of these players are just absolute like guns, and people need to sort of watch touch more. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. I know there's lots of clips on social media, but yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's doing the rounds for sure. I was walking the streets with SJ on Saturday, and we looked at each other and we're like, are you going to watch the touch later? And he was like, yeah, supposedly this is our best shot at beating Aussie. And I was like, well, we've said that 15 times and it hasn't eventuated, so let's wait and see. And well done to the lads for getting it done. As you said, I don't know why it doesn't get more exposure. It is such an easy game to watch, and the skill sets, like the rules, most people can get a grasp of it fairly quickly, despite the little intricate ones there. Like, as a person that's never watched touch, you could pick it up. And some of the skill sets and feet on these guys and the fitness levels, it's just a game that flows non-stop. And when it's played at that intensity, it is such a pleasure to watch. I enjoyed watching the women's in the mix too. I think all games were great. Some of those games against Lebanon and that, a bit of a tough watch, but hey, it's good to grow the game. But yeah, those New Zealand-Australia games, well done to the Touch Blacks. Sick to see.
Yeah, shout out to everyone. I know the mix didn't get the result they wanted. They're normally a really good shout at beating the Aussies, and I know the women went really close as well. So onwards and upwards, and I know that there's the 2028 World Cup, which I'm not sure is confirmed, but I'm pretty sure it's likely to be confirmed in New Zealand, which either will be in Auckland, Rotorua, or Christchurch in the new sort of area. So get around it. Like, if you haven't watched those games, like, I promise you, go watch it. It won't let you down.
Oh, Christchurch under the roof. That would be hissing. Let's make that happen. But agree, bro. Right, we'll wrap things up there because she's been about an hour of yarns, and it's been a big couple of days of talking anyway. No NBA Finals chat. We'll rip into that more in the preview pod in a couple of days' time. Your Thunder through 4-0 clean sweep. Good to see the Nuggets showing some fight and extending that series a little, because I want to go that one to 7 just for entertainment value. And now they don't have Ant Edwards, the T-Wolves, or Dante. They might struggle a little bit, but some good matchups there. Again, talk about it more on the preview. There's some UFC this weekend too, so stacked calendar of sport. We'll be back on Thursday to chew it all up, but good to have you back, mate. You'll be back in studio too, which will be very nice. We can ditch the Riverside for a little bit, but it served its purpose. Hope you've enjoyed the content anyway, and see you shortly. Up the wires, and how good's Super Round. Love it.